Hello? Your Health is Calling, where holistic health meets practical solutions for your well-being. With your host, speaker, New York Times bestselling author, Sue Kostyk, a seasoned holistic health practitioner and longevity coach. Join Sue each week to embark on a journey to uncover the root causes of your health concerns. Through a personalized approach, learn how to decode the messages your body is sending and craft natural protocols to address them. Call in live at 888-994-4995 Studio A.
Good morning and welcome to Hello, Your Health is Calling. I'm Sue Kostyk and I'm an integrative health practitioner. Today's topic is actually going to cover what even is integrative health, because it occurred to me that even though I've been doing this podcast for almost a year, I haven't really taken a deep dive into integrative health. And that occurred to me. I was speaking to a group of women, and I was talking about longevity and, staying healthy as we age. And there was a lot of questions being thrown out about, well, what supplement should I take and how much should I take of this and what brand should it be? And, what are your recommendations for supplements? And while I could absolutely throw out all sorts of different supplements that people should be taking and how much and everything, but I didn't, because everybody's different, and bioindividuality, we are all bioindividual, which means we're all different. We all have different DNA. It's literally impossible to take someone's question like supplements and tell you exactly what you should be doing, because of the fact that everybody has individual needs, and there's no way that we can approach health, longevity, chronic illness as a one-size-fits-all solution. And so as I was talking to these women, that the subject kept coming on, well, what should I do? What should I do? And it just prompted me to really take some time during my podcast today to really discuss the differences between integrative health, Western medicine, and not that anything, either one is good or bad, and you shouldn't do either one, but how the differences are and the different approaches and what we look for in integrative health. And so, let's first kind of talk about Western medicine. And as we go into that topic, I want to make this caveat: I am not against Western or conventional medicine at all. My daughter, who is now 19 years old, when she was 5, was diagnosed with leukemia. Conventional medicine saved her life. So I am not against it. But when Western medicine is confronted with symptoms, they kind of have these little categories already preconceived. And when you go to a doctor with a symptom, you're kind of put into one of these preconceived categories, and then you're given a recommendation, right? So I'm going to just throw up a slide that has different symptoms that we may be going to our conventional medical doctor for. And some symptoms, you could be experiencing heartburn. You could be experiencing symptoms from cholesterol issues. You could be having digestive issues, hormone issues. All of a sudden, you're breaking out with acne. Even teenagers that are breaking out with acne. I'm not boxing this into one age group, even though I do speak mostly to an older generation. But even teenagers and young adults who are experiencing hormone issues and acne, or even people who are all of a sudden having unexplained weight gain, those could be some of the things that you are, going to your conventional doctor about, because that's what we do, right? We have a symptom and we want to get rid of that symptom. So when we go to a conventional medicine doctor and we're put into a category, so I'm going to go through like what the prescription is when we are put into that category. So let's just say heartburn, acid reflux, GERD. You are put on a PPI, a proton pump inhibitor. If your cholesterol is deemed too high, you are put on a statin. If you have digestive issues, you are recommended a laxative or also a PPI. You're also recommended maybe something for what's been determined as a IBS situation. So there are a lot of medications that help to lower the symptoms from digestive issues, from IBS. You go in for hormone issues. You're put on birth control pills. You go in for acne. You are being put on antibiotics. Sometimes, as in teenagers, we're being put on birth control as well to help with, helping to control acne and sudden breakouts. And then if all of a sudden we are gaining weight, we are prescribed a Ozempic, one of those, a semaglutide. We're prescribed something that will halt that weight gain. And again, I'm not saying you shouldn't do this. All I'm saying is this is the difference between integrative health and Western medicine. And in integrative health, if I have a client that comes to me with one of these symptoms, I am going to look at the whole person. I am kind of a personalized health concierge. So when you are looking at your health and you have a symptom, and let's say it's become chronic. Now, there's a difference between chronic and acute. So my daughter with leukemia, that was acute. That needed medical intervention. We needed to, do the things that were going to save her life. When you have a chronic situation, that means that something's just gone on for too long and it's created an issue. And so I want to give you a couple of examples on integrative health that might help you understand. So a personalized health concierge. So if you go to a hotel, excuse me, and you are take a sip of coffee, you're in a city that you've never been in, and and you want to go see the things. So you go sit down at the concierge, who is an expert in that city. And they start to ask you questions, right? They're not just going to say, oh, you're in San Francisco, you need to go to Ghirardelli, without even asking you if you're interested in learning the history of chocolate. So they're going to ask you a lot of questions. They're going to ask you your timeline. They're going to ask you what you've already seen or what you would like to see, how many days you want to explore the city, things like that. They're going to be asking lots of questions. And then they're going to come up with kind of a roadmap. Sometimes they're going to plop the city map up there on their desk, and they're going to be highlighting and they're going to be circling, and they're going to put you on an exploratory journey of that city. Similarly, you want to renovate your house, a room in your house, something. You don't just go to a designer or a contractor and say, I'm going to hire you to do this, without exploring what their expertise is, what their ideas are, how they're going to map out this remodel or this reconstruction of your home. So those are two examples that I like to use that will help you to understand a little bit about integrative health, because it is about asking questions. It is about discovery. It's about treating the whole person. And so I'm going to go back to the symptoms that you went to your doctor for. And with acid reflux or heartburn, I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions and mostly around your diet. I am going to ask you questions about, other things, exercise and stress level, and, perhaps emotional health, because those are a lot of things that go into issues with acid reflux. And so my prescription likely is going to do some changes within your diet. Now, as I talk to you more, there may be issues that you might be having a food sensitivity. Because really, what acid reflux is, it's not that you have too much acid. It is exactly the opposite. It's that there is not enough to break down that food. And sometimes it's as easy as prescribing a digestive enzyme or certain types of probiotic just to help your weakened digestive system start to have the proper enzymes to create that acid to break down your food. Another popular thing is, cholesterol. And concerning cholesterol, everyone is different. And I just got my blood work done from my doctor, my conventional doctor. And under the cholesterol, it does give a range, and it does say this range could be right for you given circumstances. So it's actually acknowledging the fact that everyone is different. And so it's really hard to put you as an individual, bio-individual being in a box that says that this cholesterol number is not right for you. And that's high cholesterol, low cholesterol, it doesn't matter. So if your cholesterol is high, shockingly high, then again, I'm going to talk about different things. I'm going to talk about diet. I'm going to talk about lifestyle. I'm going to talk about sleep. We're going to really probe into the reasons. And, high cholesterol goes hand in hand with your A1C number. It goes hand in hand with your insulin and glucose numbers. So we're going to take the whole thing. We're not just going to go, oh, high cholesterol, we need to lower it with a drug. Both acid reflux and cholesterol are reversible. And so just through questions, perhaps doing some functional lab testing to see the reasons why, all of these symptoms that I put up here, I put them up for a reason because there is an underlying issue. And one of the things, if you take anything from this conversation, is that integrative health gets to the underlying root cause of issues so that we don't mask the symptom, we actually make it go away. So, digestion, again, I'm going to ask you questions about your diet, about your lifestyle, about stress. Stress is such a huge issue with so many of these. And I'm probably going to recommend functional lab testing to see if there's some food sensitivities and see if we can't get to the bottom of that. Hormone issues. We're going to have a conversation, absolutely 100%, but we are going to test your hormones because, again, everyone is individual and we need to see where your hormones are at. I can't have a conversation with you about the symptoms of your hormones without knowing which hormones are at play. And if we need to boost certain hormones without the use of hormone replacement therapy, because your body has the ability to produce what you need, even if you have had a hysterectomy, you're in menopause, it doesn't matter. Your body knows what to do. So it's really understanding the root cause of why all of a sudden your hormones are acting up. Even if you're perimenopause, even if you are a healthy 35-year-old, we want to really test so we can see. And the hormone test that we do is actually very brilliant because it tests your hormones and your cortisol 4 times throughout the day. We don't want to just see the one picture of 8 o'clock in the morning, that's where your hormones are at. I want to see where they're at throughout the day, especially your cortisol, because stress has a huge, huge impact on hormones. So, acne. Again, we want to test. We want to see where your hormones are. We want to see if there's any bacteria or if there's a yeast overgrowth. Because what happens is when these things start overgrowing, it's going to come out somewhere. And especially with bacteria, we don't want to slap an antibiotic on an acne breakout because it's probably 9 times out of 10 your gut is having an issue. And so it's just giving you that signal that these toxins are coming out in the form of acne. So we want to make sure that we test for your hormones. We want to make sure we test your digestive bacteria. And again, we want to make sure that you are following a good diet, that you're exercising, you're moving every day, you're reducing your stress. Each one of these, we definitely want to run through, like for weight gain, I want to run you through the de-stress protocol. The de-stress protocol is really about identifying your diet, your exercise, your stress level and stress management, your toxin level. Going back to acne and digestion, we want to make sure that your toxic load is low. And anytime you want to go back, you can go to YouTube, the Reinvented Life Network, Hello, Your Health is Calling. I have talked, even sometimes 2 weeks about each one of these letters in the acronym for the de-stress protocol, because that is the place that we start. So we want to make sure that you rest, that you're sleeping, that you're resting, that you're not, working 18 hours a day. We want to make sure your emotions are healthy. We want to talk about, your emotional mindset. I also want to talk about supplements, where you are in your, what you may need, because while a lot of these tests show us where you have too much of, we also know that you are going to be lacking in some areas. And then finally, we want to look at your success mindset, because whenever you have something that you're dealing with, whether it's chronic or acute, it can have an impact on your mindset. And so I just recently did a podcast on your mindset and how important it is to your overall health and healing. So, the tendency that we want is when we go in with a symptom, the tendency is for a quick solution. We want things now, yesterday, last month. And we've become such a microwave society, I want to say, because when all of a sudden we have a symptom, we want it gone. We want it to just disappear. We want to move back on with life. And the problem is the actual issue has not been identified. So we're putting a Band-Aid for a quick solution on a symptom without actually identifying what the underlying root cause is. And again, getting back to figuring everything out. Integrative health is probably a little bit more time consuming because we are trying to identify what is actually going on, and that's why you are having those symptoms, so that we can get rid of whatever it is. If you have gut bacteria, we need to get rid of it. And conventional medicine wants to give you an antibiotic to get rid of gut bacteria if you've been diagnosed with SIBO or leaky gut. But what's happening is that antibiotic, yes, it is removing the bacteria, but it's removing everything. It's an antibiotic. It is an antibacterial. So you have good bacteria and you have bad bacteria. So you want to make sure that you're not removing what's good, because then you're just going to be in this hamster wheel of constantly having to, you remove the bacteria, you start to feel a little bit better, then you have the symptoms again because you haven't repopulated your gut with the good bacteria. So when I have a client that comes with a bacterial overgrowth, it takes time. We have to remove the bad stuff, and then we have to repopulate with the good stuff. So it is a process. You do start to feel better within days because we have identified the source and we're going to work through it, but it does take time. So that's one thing we need to kind of change our mindset about how quick we want things to happen. Um, we're all bio individual. So you cannot be put into a preconceived category. We need to figure out, um, you know, what is going on. It takes time, and you want that symptom to never come back again, right? You want to just move, take a couple months out of your life to work on the root cause of what's happening so that you don't have to experience it again. One of the problems with prescription medicine is there is always a side effect. And many times that side effect comes with another prescription. So you're kind of stacking these pharmaceuticals one on top of another without figuring out the root cause. So you could feel better, but then you're going to be going back to your doctor because there's a side effect that's really affecting you. And then they're going to prescribe another medication to mask that side effect. So then you go home and you feel better again. And it's just like, again, it's this hamster wheel. So, to me, it's like, let's figure it out and let's get rid of it for once and for all. And, we do have issues. We do have genetics. I hear it all the time. Well, my parents were diabetic, or my parents had rheumatoid arthritis, or, my grandparents had this, and genetics do matter. I'm not going to say that is not the case. We all have predisposed issues, but like I say all the time, genetics loads the gun, and it's really your lifestyle that pulls the trigger, and it's not your fault. We're not laying blame anywhere because we don't know what we don't know. But if you can move through something like a de-stress protocol or do some lab testing to figure out how you can manage your genetics. Dr. Cabral, he came up with the de-stress protocol, he wrote a book called The Rain Barrel Effect. And it really goes through all of these issues that just make us a really sick society. And so when you have the personalized care of a health concierge, which somebody told me that's what I was, and I'm like, I'm using that. I love it because I have been around long enough to know that you need personalized care. You need that roadmap. You need me to come alongside you, plop that roadmap up there, highlight it, circle it, and guide you in the way you're going. And, once we've eradicated whatever we're doing and you're feeling great and you're moving through life, then it's more of an emphasis on prevention. It's more, healthcare should be called sick care because we don't go to the doctor unless there's something wrong. We really don't. When was the last time? I mean, unless you're an incredibly healthy person and you go in once a year for your lab work, whatever your yearly testing is to keep on top of things. But for the most part, we don't just walk into our doctor's office and say, "Hey, I'm feeling great. What can I do to stay healthy?" We pretty much go into our doctor with an issue. So integrative health is really an emphasis on prevention and, personalized care so that you are getting what you as a bio-individual person needs. You're never going to be deficient of a pharmaceutical. You're never going to be deficient of some kind of synthetic thing that's made in a lab. You are having an underlying root cause. And so that's where we need to figure out with whatever's going on, and figure it out. Functional lab testing is amazing. It digs super deep. The conventional lab work, like when you go and get your blood work done and they do, your chemistry and your blood work, those are important to have. I do mine once a year. My whole family does, because that's an important metrics to have. But what functional lab testing does is, if you are having an issue, let's just say your hormones, we want to test your hormones. We're digging super deep into the levels. Again, like I said, conventional testing is going to give you a range of a population, your population, whatever you are, your age, your sex. That is what the range is. But with functional lab testing, we're diving deep, much deeper. And a lot of times what comes up as normal on a conventional lab test, our metrics are a little bit different, and we're looking for high normals or low normals. And those sometimes are telling, so that when you want to be proactive in something, then we can say, hey, your progesterone estrogen ratio is creeping into that low normal. So we want to boost your estrogen levels with things from the earth, with herbs, with Ayurvedic medication or medicines, traditional Chinese medicine, herbs and things. That's going to boost. It's going to tell your body to boost one or the other. And we're not giving you that hormone, we're giving you something to boost it. I use that as just one example. But functional lab testing, it's easy. It comes right to your house. It's, a blood spot, urine, spit. If we need to test you for parasites or H. pylori or some things that are pretty big, then we're going to do a stool test and figure some of those things out. So I hope that this has been helpful. I also wanted to put out here a really easy way to get started and work with me. And it's kind of an adventure, so to speak. And, it's a 2-hour adventure. It's not 2 hours at one time. I know we're all busy, but it's just exploring your health possibilities. And, when you can, get dialed into your health, and, the first visit between us is going to be 30 minutes. There is a pretty not intensive, I don't want to scare anybody. It's like 3 pages just of discovery. It's the questions like I talked about earlier in the show. I'm going to be asking you questions about your medical history, about your lifestyle, it's your diet, just things like that. So I can get to know you on a bio-individual basis. And then once you fill all the information out, you're going to send it in to me. We're going to schedule an 1.5-hour call. Sometimes they go to 2 hours, but it is connecting all the dots. We're going to review all the data. We're going to connect the dots. Even if you think you are super healthy, there are things you can be doing. I just finished a certification in longevity, studying the longest living people on the planet, all of the things that they have going on for them. And so even if you consider yourself a very healthy person, it's always good to get that roadmap. And that's exactly what you're going to get from this, is you're going to get a roadmap. I'm going to highlight, I'm going to circle, I'm going to put landmarks in there, and you're going to get a game plan. And so the details of this package are, you are going to get 2 hours on a Zoom call. We're going to be face-to-face. I have a 60-day reset journal that you will get, so that will help you on your journey. It includes an anti-inflammatory shopping guide. It includes a restaurant dining out guide, and the detailed form for recovery. And it's $4.99. It's a personalized health plan. Now, this is a really great way to dip your toe into working with me, and then we go from there. And it's your choice. But this way you at least get a detailed, personalized health plan to move forward. And there will be recommendations. But I just wanted to put that out there, because when I do speak to groups, I think that, when we get into our Q&A part, what's really difficult is getting people to understand how bio-individual you are. And, again, I say this all the time, your health is not a hobby. And if you have any indication that your health is calling, you need to answer it because you don't want it to turn into a chronic situation. So I hope this has been helpful. I hope you've gotten something from it. And I will see you next week. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for tuning in to another empowering episode of Hello, Your Health is Calling with Sue Kostyk. Remember, your health journey is ongoing, and we're here to support you every step of the way. If you have any questions, insights, or stories to share, don't hesitate to reach out. You can connect with us on social media or call in live at 888-994-4995 Studio A. Together, we're transforming lives and embracing holistic well-being. Until next time, prioritize your health and remember, your health is calling.